Welcome to the family with...
Co-host. Oops, am I co-host anymore?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, Catherine Brandt.
And Andy Brant Bernard.
What would you be if you weren't the co-host?
I don't know, just some...
Hanger-on.
Yeah, some hanger-on.
I suppose that's probably true. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Day two. We had a ball yesterday, so thank you for watching and listening to the show yesterday. We kick it off with this... matter of fact, for this entire month, My Pill's excited to announce they're having their first ever mega sale on overstock clearance of brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 30% on the brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one Mike has worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the United States. I have a question for you. What would be the difference between a men's cross and a woman's cross?
Men's cross would probably be built larger.
Just bigger?
It's a bigger burden to share.
Oh, here we go. Get the 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. The initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And the best-selling standard My Pillow, just $14.98. To take advantage of the first-ever mega sale, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code TOM or call 800-516-5146. But wait, remember that $75 shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because now every order ships absolutely free. My Pillow, bringing you, along with several other great advertisers. I said great advertisers.
I am looking at the crosses.
Oh, you are?
They are actually different.
Yeah, I would think so.
The men's
How come you're
crosses,
so dark, Andy? You're very dark, Andy.
I haven't turned on
this. Yeah, you are. You're like
horrible migraine-inducing light. There we go.
I know.
Well, there you go.
The men's crosses are silver silhouetted with like a silver X in the middle, and the rest of it is like black.
Oh, it is?
The women's crosses are gold silhouetted with a gold X, and the inside is white.
Oh.
So they are different.
Yeah, well, men's watches are different than women's.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, onyx-styled black enamel for men, and mother-of-pearl-styled translucent white enamel for women.
Oh, they sound
pretty.
There
You go. Magnificent.
There you go.
Yeah, I was talking yesterday. I was talking to Bernie, and I talked to Dan, the head of programming here at Hubbard Broadcasting. My very first big-time radio job was at Hubbard at 1500 KSTP when it went from 13th to second place in 90 days, which was, I'll never forget that as long as I live. Chuck Knapp with Charlie Bush at the time. Matter of fact, I should reach out to all those people like John Hines and Chuck Knapp and all that. We should have them on because
people would love that.
Yeah, they're legendary. I'll start reaching out to them. You know, I don't have Chuck Knapp's phone number though. I think he lives in Alabama now.
I don't even know where he lives.
John retired as well. Although he's still doing TV spots for one of the banks, right? I think.
On what?
He's doing a bank commercial, TV on TV.
What's his name?
John Hines.
Oh, Hines.
You know John Hines.
You know a lot of Johns.
I know a lot of Mikes and a lot of Johns. That's very true.
We just had John in like a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah, a couple of years.
I mean, someone got in contact with him.
Oh, I could be able to track him down. I'm sure. I still have his phone number, as a matter of fact. So if you need that, I can call him and ask him to call you. That'd be good.
And Chuck Knapp, he's got the Chuck Knapp Radio Company on Facebook.
Does he?
Oh.
And he just posted on December 19th. So if you want to get in contact with him, there you go. That's probably how. Oh, actually, there's an email address on there.
Oh, it's an email address?
I will take a picture of it and send it to you.
All right, because I'd like... Matter of fact, for all the listeners out there, if you have someone that you remember, unfortunately, it just ran through this a while ago with another friend. John and Chuck and I are some of the only people still alive. A lot of the people died very young on that cast, like the Joe Hagers of the world and Steve.
A lot of problems.
Well, Steve Hatley got hit on a motorcycle and killed, unfortunately. He was riding his motorcycle and got hit and got killed.
That's right.
Hatley was one of my favorite people of all time. But yeah, we should reach out and get the 1500 KSTP people. And Charlie Bush obviously died a long, long time ago at a very young age as well. I mean, a lot of them did. I wonder where Steve Shannon is now. Does it say where Steve Shannon is now? Shannon at night. He was something else, no question about it.
Well, there's Steve Shannon Tire. Maybe that's him.
Probably not him. I think he was in Mankato last I saw, but I'm not sure really where that was, but Larry Carolla, somebody told me he's no longer with us. Almost, literally about 75 to 80% of that cast. I think John Hines, Chuck Knapp, and I don't know if there's anybody else. Like I said, Hatley, Hager, they're dead, unfortunately. And what are you going to, and they died young, too. It wasn't the fact that they all aged and croaked. They died of different things like motorcycle crashes, things like that.
Radio's tough on people.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. It's just the weight of radio alone. You know what I'm saying?
Is Steve Shannon black?
Nope.
Okay, then this is a different Midwestern Steve Shannon on the radio.
I think his real name is Steve Nerdahl, Nerdahll.
Well, I don't blame him for not using that name.
Nerdahl? Yeah, probably don't use Nerdahl.
Yeah.
You could be. Last time I heard he was working in Mankato, somewhere in there, but I talked to Johnny Lastman yesterday. He's doing well, doing a morning show up in St. Cloud. Johnny Lastman with us when we started at the Q way back in the old. I've been very, very lucky in my career, starting out at 1500 KSTP back when AM was the big thing and FM was barely going, and then ended up at the Q, with some very, very good people there as well. Don't you think?
I think so.
I mean, it all worked out in the end. But, yeah, I mean, that whole situation, when I looked at it, is like I've had a really good run at voiceover and AM radio and FM radio, and it's been wonderful. You have to battle all the way. I mean, there's no question about it. One thing about people is if you succeed more than they do, they don't like that. So you can't really talk about it too much. And I don't know why I did, to tell you the truth. I just did. So.
Well, it's interesting because so last time I put Sage to bed. Sage likes you to lay down with him.
Yeah.
And he listens to podcasts all the time.
Oh, he does?
And he listens to this one, and they were saying that on social media anyway, people don't like false modesty.
False
Oh,
modesty.
God, yeah, false modesty is very annoying.
No, especially on social media. For some strange reason, like if you say, I'm smart, but I'm not that smart. But I think I know this. They don't like that waffling, but they don't mind bragging.
Yeah, that's true. You're
Apparently
absolutely right about that.
On social media, apparently they'd rather have you brag outright than false modesty. They don't like that at all.
Huh.
How about humility? Humility's good, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a difference between false modesty and modesty.
Right.
So, I mean, how do they tell the difference?
Well, it's like passive aggressiveness. Sometimes you can't even tell what it was until you figure it out later.
Yeah,
it's like,
maybe.
wait a minute. Why did that compliment feel bad? The left-handed compliment. It's kind of a passive aggressive sort of thing. So if you act passive aggressive, they are not going to like that either.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. Passive aggressive it's a very big thing, isn't it? I don't know why people like all that. It just drives me nuts.
It's a cultural thing in Minnesota.
Well, that's true. That's very true. No question about it. We should probably take a break here and come back in a couple of minutes because KB2 will join KB1 and Andy and Tom. Don't you think it's time to take a break here, Andy, and bring in Kristen?
Seems that way.
I like it. We'll be right back in a couple of minutes. KB2 with us, KB1, the whole shooting match right after this. From Bradshaw and Bryant, Michael Bryant. What's up, Allie?
Oh, not much. Doing my usual thing of telling people they shouldn't be texting and driving. In Minnesota, you can't have your phone in your hands. You can use, hands-free, but you can't have your phone in your hand for whatever reason. And that's why they made the law the way they did, so that police officers could see a phone in your hand and you got no excuse for why you got it there.
Do people know that that's the law?
I hope so. I mean, they used to follow it, and then kind of COVID kind of made people forget. And now it's like a freewheeling world out there with cell phones.
Let's say you get pulled over because you do have a phone in your hand and you're not watching where you're going. You got to be in pretty big trouble then, I would guess.
Well, the first one's not as bad. It's the multiple ones, the problem. And once people start stacking them up, then they have a big problem. And then what we're doing in car accidents is we've started bringing motions for punitive damages because I'm trying to use the civil law any way we can to stop this because it needs to stop.
Whenever I'd had any problems in my life, who was that I called again? It was like an MB, something like that.
Bradshaw and Bryant.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? You know, inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
Well, I'm starting off with I just thought that whole deal too, because Jim Paul, of course, has been a friend of mine for 40 some years. Been
He's
a
a
long,
nice
long
guy.
time. Oh, Jim Paul's a great guy, no question. But Jim and I used to hang out. Everybody we hung out with is now dead too, and
Maybe you're the problem.
but I mean, they died in their 30s and 40s. I mean, it's like, God, what? Maybe it is me.
Yeah, I think in 1,000 years ago, you probably would have been sacrificed by now.
You're a vampire.
It would have killed me just to keep everybody else alive.
Yeah, how are you doing that? I don't
Well,
want
that's
to
a
know.
possibility. Ladies and gentlemen, Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. So Kristen will ask you, because I, excuse me, I started in big time radio at 1500 KSTP, which was a Hubbard station, or still is a Hubbard station. But we've been thinking through whether it's the guys I worked with and women I worked with in radio, the people I did my voiceover business with all those years and years. Like 90% of them are dead, and none of them were old.
I'm going through that too.
Oh, are you? You are.
Yes. So, before I did entertainment, I worked in automotive. So I hosted a show for Toyota and did a lot of media and things like that. And this core group, and it's been men, by the way, not women who have been dying, but they're just like dying.
What age is?
Anywhere between 40s and 50s. It's
Yeah.
a lot of heart conditions.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Were they smokers?
Nope, like super healthy. In fact, a friend of mine who just passed on Friday.
Sorry.
He did. I know it's. I'm sounding really flippant about it, but I'm just kind of in disbelief about it because he did have a heart attack a couple years ago. His doctor said, this is what you need to do, stay healthy. He followed his doctor to a T, like someone that really changed their life, exercising, eating healthy, doing everything he was supposed to, and died of another heart attack on the treadmill. On the treadmill.
Really?
Oh, well,
Yeah,
Jim
like you see in a movie,
Yeah,
like
Jim
you
Fix
see
did.
that happen in a movie, you're like, that would never really happen. It actually happened.
It's unbelievable. I didn't even, I didn't really think it through, but the people that I started with at 1500 KSTP back at the beginning of my career, about 80% of them are dead. And I don't think one of them lived to be 60. I don't think. And then we started talking about voiceover, and then it's like, honest to God, Kristen, what is that all about? Is there a lot of booze involved in the radio and recording business?
Well, back in the day,
Back in the day.
Radio? Are
when they
you kidding me?
delivered the tray of Coke, they're
Yeah.
like, hello.
Yeah, the cocaine and alcohol combo and smoking, probably not the best for you.
I know, we were talking about that yesterday. We were walking. We're like, Florida 40 years ago was basically a third world country. I mean, you had Miami. That was just like cocaine craziness with all the bankers that were in on it and, gang members running everywhere. It was just horrible down there. And then you had Orlando and everything.
Yeah,
else
Disney
was-
World was like, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
It was the Wild West.
it was.
I have a friend, Kristen Bird. I got to tell you this, and you'll like this, by the way. I had a friend. I was talking to a friend a couple of days ago, and I said, "So you gonna be around?" I'm popping back to Minnesota on matter of fact, 48 hours from now. I got to leave for Minnesota and be there for a while, which I'm really looking forward to. Going to go back and forth a lot. That kind of works out that
Can you
way.
get the temperature above 10, please?
Yeah, how about 10 below?
I don't know.
That's pretty much the day. No, that's because you did that. I forgot what I was leading to.
Oh, sorry.
What are you going to do?
Well, it's -2 at the moment.
Oh.
I mean, it was -12 when I woke up, so it's actually
Minus
warmed up quite a
12.
bit.
I'm trying to see what it is. It's really cold and it's cold in California. It's
Mm.
50 this morning. I'm sitting here with a blanket in my lap like a grandmother.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
so-
Have
I'm
our,
so
we're gonna
cold.
have our typical 80 degrees every day.
minus 14 tomorrow night. It's going to be 8 for a high on Thursday when you come
Ooh,
in.
there you go.
Friday's going to be 25 though.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Well, that's the first
not
real
so bad.
day
That's
that
balmy.
we'll
Yeah,
be
no,
bouncing around.
it's the cold season, like as of yesterday.
Yeah,
So,
February.
February's a rough month.
yep.
So, Kristen, you'll like this. As I said, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said, "Yeah, we're going to Disneyland." I said, "Oh, really? You're going to Disney World?" He goes, "No, Disneyland." I said, "Really? You're going to Disneyland?" He goes, "I hate Florida." It's like, people either hate California or they hate Florida. There's nobody in between, apparently.
Well, a lot of people like Disneyland because it's smaller.
It is smaller, that's
Yeah.
true.
And it was the house that Walt really built because he had he has his hands all over the architecture, whatever's remaining. I'll be honest, because they
Yeah.
love to just go, we're going to close this ride, and you
Mhm.
think you're taking away the history of what Walt
Yeah.
created. I wish they
Yeah.
had kept a lot of things, and I understand the need to modernize, but they've taken away elements of like parking lots and like built, Star Wars land and things like that. Do that.
Yeah.
But still keep the original, because I think that's what makes it really special.
Yeah, Disney
so, too.
World has a lot of things that they have gotten rid of over the years.
Yes, they have.
There's only of the originals, there's probably like Peter Pan is still there. It's a Small World is still there. The Carousel of
Dumbo
Snow White.
ride.
The what?
Do you have Snow White? Not the dwarfs like Mine Train. Do you have like the Snow White like little Fantasyland ride?
I don't think that's a
don't
thing
think
for
That's
World.
a Disneyland original then.
Oh, okay.
I got to tell you, honestly, though, I worked for Disney for, what was that, about 25 years?
Yeah.
Because they own KQ for 25. There's no better company to work for. If you are successful, boy, they do love that, man. I'm not kidding you. It was a joy to work with them. And of course, then they were sold off, and it was okay for a while there. But, oh, God, there was a big difference between working for Disney and working for an audio company or a radio Oh my,
Perks,
huge.
right?
Oh God, wholly different deal. But one thing I got to tell you, Kristen, that I'm really happy about, and I was thinking about this because I've already walked 6 miles this morning, so I'm very happy about that.
No, that's good.
Yeah, I've been walking a lot. I mean, some days I walk like 8 miles, some days 4, 6, 8, somewhere in there.
That's good
I
for you.
bounce around. Yeah, I really like it. But one thing I was thinking about, and nothing against sports shows or anything, but I've done sports shows and also the political shows, and I'm kind of glad that we'll talk about sports and probably not much politics on this show, but I'm kind of glad I didn't like talking about stuff that upset me. You know what I mean? Like when the Vikings would just get slaughtered in the Super Bowl, I'd be on the air and those sons of bitches are, it was terrible. And then, same thing with politics. And I look, Joe Souchere is one of the best guys I've ever met. He's a great guy, and he does a wonderful, wonderful political show that follows this show on the Hubbard Network, as a matter of fact. But honest to God, I don't know if I could handle it anymore. People are so divided now. Do you think, Kristen Burt, they're the most divided they've ever been?
I mean, probably yes.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, I think a lot of people don't love what's happening right now, and collectively, I've seen a lot of people from both sides kind of come together, going, "Well, wait, what is happening?"
Yeah.
And maybe this will bring people together just to really understand what's happening in Washington, D.C.
Well, I think the good thing about it is too that because I just saw, and again, this is not my personal comment. I've been a Democrat, I've been a Republican, I've been both, and now I'm kind of like in the middle, kind of looking both ways because I don't really like what either party's doing right now. I don't really care for it.
I like a lot of things.
But well, good. I'm glad to hear that. But I mean, no, I am seriously. I'm
do.
glad to hear that you like a lot of things.
I think auditing everybody's spending is a great idea.
Yeah, I've been saying we
I
should
think
be
it
doing
should have
that
been
for like
happening
20
forever.
years.
Yeah, forever. It should
I
have
don't
been
think
happening.
the person doing the auditing is. I think that's the issue. I don't necessarily think the actual act of auditing is the issue. That's what I would say.
What do you think about the fact?
but sorry.
What do you think about the fact that I just saw the polling. I didn't make it up, but if my mother knew the Democratic Party was only favored by 38% of the country, she'd lose it. My mother was a big-time Democrat.
Well, the Democrats have like basically laid down to just die. I don't know what they're doing right now.
Yeah, it's weird.
They've just gone into this weird submissive position. So I think like both parties are just a hot mess. And
I
think
agree.
that-
Right.
yeah,
I
yeah,
do.
I
I
think
agree
that's
with you.
where we're at. But there's a lot of things happening in entertainment.
Thank God she saved us with entertainment.
Oh, I wanted to mention too when you were talking about Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody know that Universal was opening up this huge Epic Land that is already opened? It's supposed to be
Epic
bigger,
Land?
In
Epic
Orlando,
World or something epic. I don't even know. It's supposed to be twice as big as Universal.
Universal Epic Universe.
Universe, that's it.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't
And
even know about that.
Universal Studios is kicking, at least here on the West Coast, they are kicking Disney's butt because they've kept prices in a more
Good
more
move.
stable than
Not
Disney.
not in World, that's for sure.
Epic World isn't.
No, Disney World.
Oh,
No,
Disney,
Disney
World.
World, but
Yeah.
here, Universal, maybe in Orlando too, is also kicking Disney's butts because they've kept the prices like annual passes, even fast passes, where you get the front of the line situation,
Right.
where families of four can go affordably to the parks and enjoy a couple days there, where it's just so out of reach for many families now. And they're like, you've raised the prices, but have you changed the value? Like you have to be upping the value if you're upping
Yeah.
the prices,
Yeah.
and they're
Right.
not
Good
doing
point.
that.
Exactly. Well, this Epic Universe thing's got How to Train Your Dragon, The Isle of Berk. It's got another Harry Potter thing. I don't know if we need that, but okay, why
Oh,
not?
I don't, a lot of people love Harry
I mean, we
Potter.
went to the Harry Potter thing, but it's like it's Diagon Alley. It's got everything you want to see. You got the rides, you got the sights. What else do you need? But now they got the Ministry of Magic.
Well, a lot of the rides were a little bit for older people.
That
older
is true. I
kids.
didn't
Yeah,
actually go
maybe
on
it's
any of the
for
rides
younger.
because I was like, I don't
Oh.
I don't like roller
loved it.
coasters or motion sickness inducing things.
You don't
I
care
can't
for
go
that.
upside down. I can't. It's.
Oh,
I
God.
start crying if I go upside down.
But we went on one. We went on what the hell? It was like the Mummy or something like that. Something like that as a roller coaster.
The Mummy is a ride. Yeah,
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was the Mummy. Then it was like an indoor roller coaster. It
Yes.
lasted,
dark.
felt like 20 seconds long, but it
Yeah.
was like very like getting jerked around and stuff. And it's
20
like,
seconds of terror. Is what it
yeah,
is.
basically. I mean, really the only part I remember because like you can't see anything. It's just like, getting jerked around, like you said, in the dark. So it's like,
Yeah.
what is there to remember? But the only part I really remember is they like have you go up to this face that says something and then the floor just like falls out. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I don't like
Making
that.
me sweat even remembering. I have a fear of like heights, so anytime I feel like out of
Oh.
control, like being-
Yeah.
when they do those glass bottoms at
No,
some of
thank you.
the-
Nope.
No,
Not anymore. I used to be able, I don't know why, but like once I hit like my late 20s, I just can't really do heights anymore. Not a fan.
terrifying. We went to Sedona a few years ago and hiked Devil's Bridge.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone
I
knows
have
Devil's
done
Bridge,
it.
and it's this narrow little.
Yeah.
I'm sweating thinking about it. And we went to take the photo, and I told Bill, I said, you know what? I'm going to stand back and I'll take the photo. You go out there. That is just too terrifying. And then the woman next to me, she's like, you've hiked this whole way. You're not going to go out there. And I'm like, okay. So I talked myself up, and I was like, I scooted to where he was in line, and I'm like, I'm going to go. And I literally was just like crawling. And if you see, we looked out, we took a photo from the back, and you can see my hand, the claw grabbing his shirt. I was so terrified and sweating. I was like, that is so awful. And people, I mean, if you go and Google it later, they're like, oh, there's 3 people died here at Devil's Bridge this
What?
year. You're like, you fall over.
Yeah.
It's so narrow. If you're not
Oh,
paying
dear.
attention.
Yeah, Catherine's parents lived a stone's throw from Sedona for a long time, so we went there a bunch of different times.
Was it
Sedona's
Catherine's parents?
gorgeous.
Well, I mean, if I were to say my grandparents, she doesn't know what I'm talking about.
No.
Well, I suppose that's
Got a lot of grandparents. Who can keep track of them?
That's absolutely true. Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. So I want to mention a couple of things because I know you got a lot to talk about. So you might have to stay a little later than usual. If that's okay, because we're trying to get through this. But seriously, I do
She's
like the
just like,
fact
"No."
that I'm not doing a show for the first time in my career where getting pissed off is part of the show, whether it's about sports or it's about politics or whatever. I'm glad I don't have to get angry about anything anymore, and I'm very happy about that.
Well, we are happy for you because it is better for your mental health as well.
Oh, I
Sure
think so.
is, and
Sure
your-
is.
So
it is a better place to live.
two headlines that I saw, and I wanted to ask you about. Kristen Burt, finger on the pulse. You know what I'm saying. Jelly Roll's advice if you're struggling to exercise. Doesn't Jelly Roll weigh like 500 pounds?
Oh, he just had a huge weight loss.
Oh, he did? I didn't know.
Yes,
Well,
he looks
good.
very good.
Glad to hear it.
He
Let's
looks really
see.
good.
Jelly
Glad to hear
roll weight loss. I'm going to.
Yeah, he looks
Oh,
good.
I heard he's a great guy. I've
Yes.
never met him, but I heard he's a really nice guy.
Everybody loves him. Everyone I know who's
Lost-
worked with him.
120 pounds.
What?
Whoa.
That is so much weight.
Well, there you go. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it is good. Jelly Roll, I'm proud of you. Now, this one, I don't know what this headline means. What was up with Tom Cruise's face during the Super Bowl?
Yes.
Oh, you know this. See?
I finger
Yeah.
on the pulse. There you go. Also, I would also throw out there Tom Brady had a new face. I don't know what was happening.
Really?
Yeah. I said to my husband, I'm like, did he get an upper bleph? You know, an eye
Oh.
lift?
I
It
gotta
looked
start
like
looking
it on Tom
closer.
Brady. There's been questions over the years of Tom Cruise, because we're specifically talking about Tom Cruise on this article. Had a facelift or anything else. I think at some point he might have had dabbled with filler and things like that.
Oh, okay.
And I
Yeah.
think he's gone natural now, and so now we're seeing
Oh.
his real face, his aging face, and he still looks good. I mean, he still looks good
How
and
old is
youthful
he,
and everything else.
anyway?
61, 62, somewhere around there.
He doesn't
Oh.
look anything
not
like
bad.
I remember. So
Oh, really?
I'm looking at this like in this commercial or whatever this is. It a commercial that he's in?
Yeah, he did a Super Bowl commercial. Yes.
Yeah, and he looks like I would not. If you showed me a picture of this and said, "Who is this?" I'd be like, "I don't know."
He looks softer, but I think like your face fills out a little bit more. If he's he has a little extra pounds, things like that. He's not fat by any means, but he just his face looks softer. But I don't think he doesn't look to me like he's had a major facelift or anything else like
Right.
that.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
glad to
know.
hear
At some point, you can't keep chasing the youthful look because it just ends up going terribly, terribly wrong.
Unless you're Jane Fonda, she's had a load of surgeries and she still looks really
great.
good.
She does. She looks great.
Whoever did her work, Demi Moore looks really good.
Yeah.
Catherine Zeta-Jones. There's a couple of people that have had subtle work over the years that
Right, but I mean, like they still
Where's Ralph
look
when we need him?
more or less their age, I would say. Like you can tell that they're not trying to look like they're 20 still. That's
No.
when that's
I
when it
wouldn't-
becomes a real problem.
But would you say, I wouldn't say Demi Moore to me looks like the average 61, 62-year-old.
No.
I wouldn't say that.
No.
Maybe a woman in her 50s.
Well, Ralph has always talked about his work and that he if a woman comes in and she says she wants to look like she did when she was 20 and she's 50, he's like, I'm not going to try to do that.
No, it's not
'Cause
possible.
That's going to look really bad. And he said, you more refreshed, more awake looking,
Like it took a great nap.
is really the goal, because pulling and pulling and pulling is just, down here in Florida, you should see some of the work. It's like, my
That's
God.
nice.
They don't want a wrinkle. They don't
no, it's
want
true.
anything.
Yeah,
said.
Miami has a look.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah, and it's not something I've ever
much
liked.
Filler. They
Oh
just
God, the
fill
lips, they're
everything.
enormous.
And
Yeah.
the trend in Hollywood is to move away from filler. So, and we're talking about like the lifted cheeks or like the sculpted jaw. It's really about now a very natural look, subtle, like, you're like, they look a little different. What did they have done? But you don't really know what it is. And oftentimes it's just like a little brow lift or a little like upper bleph, touch of Botox, but it's not that heavy, overfilled. I always call it like the pillowy, doughy looking face that you see.
Yeah, it's not attractive.
That's
and
at least in Hollywood, the trend has moved out over the last year or so.
yeah, and I think giant boobs are over too.
Giant boobs are way out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because X still puts a lot of women with huge breasts on there.
They're always going to be a thing
Yeah, I
somewhere in
suppose.
the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was a
Only
kid,
fans.
it was heroin chic, they called it.
Yeah.
The idea of being
Oh.
very, very thin,
Callista flock
like
her ears.
incredibly thin. Yeah.
Yeah. With the hollowed out like cheekbones.
Yep.
And that kind of also paved the way for filler, because oftentimes if you overfilled your cheekbones, you would get that sort of really hollowed out look too.
You know what's really funny about this conversation? I listened the whole time, and I didn't realize, because I saw the commercial you're talking about, I had no idea that was Tom Cruise. I'm not kidding you. I had no clue that was him.
Like him.
What was the commercial for again?
I don't know.
The Super Bowl, I think.
I know, but I mean, what was the product?
No, but I mean, was it to promote the Super Bowl, Andy? I don't remember.
So that's what I mean. It's like $8 million, and we don't even talk about the product. We're talking
Yeah,
about Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
I'm Googling it, and none of them say what the ad is for. They just say he was.
Didn't he and Brad Pitt do sound? I know Brad Pitt's was like NFL. It was sponsored by the NFL, but all about like America and coming together and things like that. So I don't know if Tom Cruise's was similar to that.
It just says it was a football-inspired commercial. Well, thanks. That's
Oh, okay.
very helpful.
It all works out in the end.
Works.
That's all I have to say.
And maybe someone in the chat who knows what we're talking about.
Yeah, I got no idea. There's no question.
The chat has
about
been more active in the past couple of days than it's been in a long time.
I
think
just
the new
think-
time
Well,
is working for
lunchtime,
more
yep.
people. Yep.
it. A lot of people like the fact that they can watch Score North, or watch and listen to Score North, of course, then listen to our show, and then listen directly to Joe Souchere. So it's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like the old radio days when you had the morning guy, the midday guy, and the afternoon guy, and then the women came on and all that. But it's kind of like that,
Then the women.
which I do like that a lot. There's no question about that.
The women's.
All the women's be showing
The
up. There's
women's.
no question about it. But look, I mean, I think this is going to be. I was very excited this morning. I wanted to tell you guys that, and Chris, I wanted to tell you that. I woke up, and there were times when I was doing a radio show that was very political, or it was very, on about this or that or the other, whatever it was. It takes a lot out of you. So the fact that this show is not based on being critical of anything, I like that, actually. I mean, other people can come on and be critical about things, but I don't have to be.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that. It's just very even keel. It's just about life, and try to focus basically on the good things about life.
You can be
which
critical about excessive plastic surgery.
Yeah, that's
I don't
fine.
think that's a controversial stance.
No, but if you do get it and you're happy with it, there's
Mazel
nothing wrong
tov.
with it either.
If you got it, flaunt it.
So
You
look,
should
people.
do
Oh, by the
what's
way,
best for you.
people were telling me that we were geniuses for keeping you. By the way, I wasn't going to tell you that because.
Geniuses.
Oh my God, you kept Kristen Burt. That's
I
wonderful.
like that.
They love you. You do know that.
Thank you. I love them. They're always
You
so
do.
nice to me.
When are you coming to town? That's what we want to know. Not in the winter.
How long
Well,
have you
that-
been talking about this?
13 years. I'm not kidding.
13 years. 13 years we've been talking about her coming to town.
I know.
2012.
You've never actually been in studio, have you?
No. I've
Wow,
never been
yeah.
in the Studio, and I started in 2012.
Yep.
She's
It's been a
busy.
while.
I was 4.
I know. Sometimes I think back, it's just like how young I was when the show started, and it's just like, I don't know. It feels like 10,000 years ago. But at the same time, it also, because every so often I go back and I do these episodes from the archives, and I've been putting out the very earliest ones. I think I just put out episode like 10 or something last week.
Yeah.
And sometimes I listen to these episodes and it feels like we just recorded them.
Weird.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I suppose.
But then some of them I don't recognize at all. I'm like, when did this happen?
Now that you've got 2 kids, Andy, are you like, what did I do with my time before we had kids? Did I have a life? What was before
I
children?
mean, I know what I did with my time, and I didn't have a life, and I was very happy with that.
That's
But
really
you guys
nice.
weren't married, and you guys didn't have grandkids. I mean, like that's how
yeah.
long I've been around.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I wasn't even,
No.
close to getting married. I don't think Alex wasn't even married yet.
No,
No.
she wasn't.
No,
No.
she wasn't.
Yeah, I remember when she announced Fawn was on the way in the show relatively early on, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, back then it was just the 4 of us. Jude, no
Yeah.
Jude yet, I don't think.
Jude's
We
been
got
around.
Jude when Don Shelby was on the.
Yeah, no, we
show.
didn't have Jude when it started.
No.
Kazzy
No.
wasn't alive, was he?
He might have been.
Wow, that is a long time ago.
Way to
too
go,
young to
Kristen.
go.
You're aging us. KB1 and KB2 have aged
Oh,
us
we all-
Wait a
mightily.
minute.
We all age.
There's no doubt about it. Do you mind if we take a quick break and then come back and we can wrap it up, or do you have to go?
No, I can stay.
Marvelous. We'll be right back right after this.
I'm talking with my friends Michael Bilski and Brad Huckle of North American Banking Company. Guys, business owners have had to deal with a lot over the last few years, haven't they?
They sure have, Tommy. We pride ourselves on being able to help our customers with the challenges they face.
Our business bankers are experts and are always ready to help our customers capitalize on opportunities and solve problems.
Loan decisions come quickly because they're made here in the Twin Cities and not shipped out of state like at some of the national banks in town.
This allows our customers to expand their businesses with confidence, knowing that they have our team of experts in their corner.
Okay, so now you give me this big thing at the end. Way to go.
Well, you are the professional.
Oh, I forgot.
Look, I know Brad and Mike, and I trust them with my banking. They've personally delivered on everything they've just said, so why not bank with my banker? North American Banking Company, a better banking experience, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety for wondering if you saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk. Never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments must involve risk. You know that. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser. What do you think of that, ladies and gentlemen? Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Oh, Costaki joined us right at 11:05 now. I thought he was going to join us at 11:20. So it's 11:05?
11:05.
Do you guys know each other, Costaki Economopoulos and Kristen Burt?
I don't think so.
You
Have
both
we
live in
crossed
Los
paths?
Angeles.
You do? Where are you in LA?
I'm in Park La Brea.
Very nice. I'm over in the 818.
I lived over there for a while in Studio City and Sherman Oaks. Those were my early haunts in my
Studio
first
City's
chapter
great.
of my LA life. Yeah.
Now you can both rip movies and TV shows apart together, shoulder to shoulder. It'll be wonderful. I think anyway. It's just the way that. So yeah, Costaki, we're just talking about how much we appreciate Kristen Burt coming on with us, and of course you as well. And I do. You've known me for how many years, Costaki?
Oh man, what is the answer to that? It's
25,
15, 20, 25.
It's something like that. I know
For
that.
the podcast, it was probably around the same time as Kristen's first appearance. I know
And
you
then-
were on there like very, very early, probably 2012.
He was.
Let's see, episode 13.
No,
So
that's
that would
early.
have been like summer of 2012.
But he was on the KQ Morning Show with me many times before that.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
were you? I didn't
Yeah,
know.
you were the most mysterious radio show to do because sometimes I would come in and you were there like a person. And sometimes I would come in and there would just be a room full of characters and the voice of God. And it was like, where is this guy?
The voice of God.
Yeah, I remember for a long time in the beginning of the show, we'd have a comedian in, but they would be down in Florida. So we'd pipe their voices in.
Right.
And we'd start the show and they'd start looking around. Like the idea of a remote voice is foreign to them. It's like, I imagine that's how people reacted in like the late 1800s when the telephone became a thing.
Hello?
Like, hello?
Well, at the time, Tom was the cutting edge of the remote technology.
yeah.
That was,
that's
comics. And in those days, comics would do a lot of radio. It was very common to come in and get a schedule from the club. Like you're going to do 6 different radio stations and a TV, and you bop around all Friday morning. And Tom Bernard was definitely the only one where you would go in and he wasn't there, and it was like mysterious.
Yeah, baby. No, we're talking.
I
The
remember having,
ISDN line, that was a very early day thing.
Yeah, well,
we had fiber optics out to the barn way back in those days, and there was nothing out there then. We had fiber optics.
That was a T1 line, I remember.
Yep.
Kristen, your first episode was episode 26. So you weren't too far behind Kostaki.
So was that October? Like I feel like it was the fall of 2012.
Well, let's see. We started
Good
in
memory.
September. Yeah, probably around then.
Wow.
You think,
Amazing.
you think our dog's snoring loud enough?
I thought that was someone's phone vibrating.
No, that's our
No.
dog snoring.
Well, when you were doing one of the live reads, he was gagging, so that was great.
Nothing like a fur ball.
Talking about Bilski again. Yeah, that's all we need, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Look, Costaki, one of the things, Kristen, when you got to go, just give me the nod because you're welcome to stay as long as you want, but I don't want to hold you when you got to go.
I've got about like 9:15. I got my time. I've got to go. I got 4 minutes.
Oh yeah, okay. That'll work out beautifully. Now I forgot what. We were talking to Kristen Bird about the fact your neighbor out there in the Los Angeles area. Neither one of your houses burned down, thank God. So that was good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yours did.
No.
I did
thought you would.
I had to
Yeah, she had to
evacuate.
evacuate.
You did have to
did?
evacuate.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
she did.
Yeah, I'm by the Encino Hills, so yeah.
Honest to God, but Costaki, one of the things I was talking to Kristen about on this show is it's not a sports show and it's not a politics show. So the first time in my career, basically, since I was a disc jockey at 1500 KSTP, I don't get pissed off during the show. It's very weird.
You're having a conversation. How
I'm just
about
having
that?
a conversation with people. I'm enjoying this a lot. I will tell you that. There's no question about it.
Having zero stake in the Super Bowl helps.
No, that's
Just another game.
well. That one in 1978. That was tough. And you realize we haven't been to the Super Bowl. We were in 4 Super Bowls in the 70s and haven't been back to one since.
It's been that long?
I think it was 79 was the last time we were. Wasn't it?
It's been a long dry spell.
God.
I saw Super Bowl trivia this week and thought of you, Tom. What's the only team to play in 4 Super Bowls and never have a lead?
Never have a lead. They never had a lead in a Super Bowl. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know it was that bad.
Goodness gracious.
Have the Vikings ever won?
No.
Never.
No.
Never won a Super Bowl.
Wow.
No, man.
Yeah, it's been a great thrill for
That's
me. I'll tell you that.
depressing.
But they've been. There are 4 teams that have never even been to a Super Bowl.
Really?
That's true. There
What
are
are
some.
those
where?
teams?
The 2 expansion-y ones, the Texans, Jaguars, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
and then the 2 classic losers, the Browns and oh wait, what's the other one?
God, the Browns.
I remember looking it up a couple weeks ago.
Bills?
Oh, I had this on the tip of my tongue. I just blanked on the 4th answer.
The Bills have lost 4 as well. The
Oh.
Bills and the
The
and
Bills
They've
have
won. The Bills have won a Super
Oh,
Bowl.
the Lions. The Lions haven't been.
Lions.
They
Oh, Detroit
won like
Lions, yeah.
right before the modern Super Bowl era, but not since then.
God.
In fact, there's the heartbreaking tale of this guy who went to that game where they won the championship, right? And he was like 18 and he loved it so much. He bought season tickets.
Oh.
And they just interviewed him a couple years ago. And he's had season tickets.
Oh no.
What is he like? 50 now?
Yeah, he is an old man. He's mid 80s, I believe.
Oh, that is so depressing.
Yeah, and he's been going to all the games all the way through.
You should be able to claw back that money.
That'd be nice.
Give him something. He deserves
they
like
should.
VIP
Yeah,
treatment.
for real.
Something, yeah.
I suppose that's probably true. Well, Kristen, let me tell you something. It's such a joy because, like I said, we're not talking sports, we're not talking politics, not talking anything, only stuff that makes me happy. And again, if the Vikings ever do make it back to the Super Bowl,
It's happy.
I would be happy.
You'll have to go to that Super Bowl.
Not if they lost again, though. I wouldn't care for that. That was very, very painful back in the day. No question about it. But in any case, Kristen, we love you dearly, and thank you for being a part of this show, too. It's terrific having you on. And we'll talk to you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Kristen Burt, ladies and gentlemen. Kristen Burt Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to anybanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Josh Arnold, my pal Josh Arnold, bringing you Costaki Economopoulos. What's the latest, Costaki?
Well, we had a blowout. We had an old school blowout in the Super Bowl,
Yeah,
right?
sure did.
Yes, we did.
I haven't looked at the stats, but I just feel like when I was a kid, the blowout was the typical arrangement for a Super Bowl, right? And then in the last, 15, 20 years, I feel like we've had mostly good the games are good. But this was a throwback, man. Usually to see a Chiefs spank like this, you got to go to a Village People after party. Huh?
Oh, Andy's like, what? You might have to explain that one to him, Costaki.
Well, they had a cop and a Native American and
I don't know who the Village People are.
a construction
Everybody
worker.
knows.
Yes, there
That's
you
one
go.
of those. Speaking of trivia, that's one of those trivia things. Is like name the 5 village people, and there's always one that people always think is there, but it's not. But I don't remember
Is it
what
fireman? There's not a fireman, right?
There isn't?
I think that's
I
it.
don't think so.
Oh.
There's a cop, but not a firefighter.
There's a cop and a construction worker and an Indian.
Yes.
Yeah, Indian.
Which isn't really a job, but I mean, whatever. There
It
is
is interesting.
a cop. There's an Indian chief, a cowboy, a biker, a construction worker, and a military man. So no firefighter.
But these aren't jobs. These are like gay icon
Ways of
things
life,
to dress up
I guess.
as, right?
The gay icon things. I like. There you go.
Biker is a kind of job, I guess.
These are retro cosplay fun choices, right? These aren't meant to be, representative of the jobs.
Well, in the Navy, there was an admiral and a sailor, so that's representative.
In the Navy. Yeah, that was a good song. I like that song, actually. I don't know why, but I do.
They're fun dance songs.
Yes.
I suppose that's
They
true.
are fun.
Yeah.
What was
Yeah, the
that?
Chiefs.
ABBA? Remember?
ABBA, yeah.
ABBA. We were at our Jewish Russian deli having a cup of coffee.
Yes,
Right
yeah.
down the
Oh,
street here.
over on Dixie.
Yeah, and Dad's up there ordering. I've got the dog. I'm waiting at a table, and he comes back and he says, "Well, the strangest thing just happened to me. Would you like to take it over?"
No, you tell the story. It's a good story.
So this Russian guy says to Dad, "Do you like ABBA?"
Everybody's playing all this ABBA all the time.
playing on. Yeah, it's like
you
wait,
like ABBA?
I mean, for a minute there, it's like
Are they Russian or
No.
No.
Swedish?
no, ABBA is not. No,
Scandinavian,
there's
maybe?
Scandinavian of some
Swedish.
kind. I think. Yeah, Swedish.
Swedish.
But it's
Okay.
just so strange. Are you like ABBA?
He played about, 10 songs in a
I
row.
know he really did.
He loves ABBA.
likes-
That's
So
good.
funny.
likes
Just
his
so
ABBA.
off the wall. I love that.
Years ago, I was watching late night David Letterman top 10 list,
Oh, God.
and the list was top 10 chapter titles of Gorbachev's new book. And one of the answers was, "Hey, you Jews, where do you think you're going?" And I could not stop laughing.
Oh,
And I was
man.
dating a Jewish girl at the time, and we ended up having a very tense conversation about how much I
could see
enjoyed that comedy.
I can see a little tense moment.
I go, well, I'm not. It's not that I'm not empathetic. I'm just
No, you're not-
that would be a ridiculous chapter.
Yes,
title.
you're not endorsing it. It's the absurdity of it. There we go. Yes.
Hey, you Jews.
So stupid.
Oh, God. They're going through a hell of a period right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
I was like, Jesus, would you settle down?
Who, Russians or Jews?
Yes.
Jews. I've never understood that. I don't like your belief in God. What? Who
Yeah, that one
cares?
always puzzled me. As an Atlanta boy,
What?
there would be a, we didn't have a lot of Jewish people around, but one here, one there. You had a buddy in high school, and
Right.
he had a different holiday or whatever. But it never even occurred to me to dislike somebody because of that. It did that was. They weren't different enough, seemed like to me. Like
I remember when I was a kid, we talked about, like, 'cause in Minnesota, there's a big, like, there's a lot of Catholics, but then there's also a lot of Episcopalians.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
There's also a lot of Lutherans. Lutheranism is probably the number one in the state, but
It is, yeah.
there's still plenty of every other denomination. It's very mixed.
right.
And I just remember, I remember asking my parents on multiple occasions. I was like, okay, so what's the difference between a Catholic and a Lutheran? And they never gave me a satisfying answer.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's
fine.
all the Pope
these-
business. Yeah.
Well,
I
will
know,
tell
but it's like, I don't know. It's like, okay, they don't believe in communion, but they like the same way that we do, but they still do exactly what we do. So it's like,
I know,
it's
pray
hard
the
to
same
describe to a
prayers.
child that, like, okay, both people, they go up and then the priest gives them communion and then they drink the wine and then, that's important to them. But Catholics believe in transubstantiation and they don't.
Oh, right.
That matters
Right.
somehow.
Well, over here
That's
it's a
the big
symbol,
one.
and here it's actually
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. But it's
Yeah.
like, to a kid, it's like, that's just like the dumbest thing in the world.
When I was a kid, though, I'll be honest with you, because I grew up in a black, Jewish, and Catholic neighborhood. So there were not a lot of Lutherans and Episcopalians in our neighborhood. But there was one guy, he was a Lutheran. I found out later. I didn't even know what a Lutheran was because, again, not a lot of Lutherans in the neighborhood. He would not allow Jews, blacks, or Catholics to walk on the sidewalk in front of his house.
Wow.
It's like, that's everyone in this neighborhood.
That's a busy that's a busy rule to try to enforce.
That's right out of a Gene Shepherd book.
Is it really?
Yeah, he talks about that in one of his books.
Oh, I didn't know that. Which book? That he wasn't allowed to cross the...
I think, do patent leather shoes really reflect up?
Gene Shepherd was such a great writer.
Wasn't that Gene Shepherd?
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
I think so.
I think so.
Leather shoes.
That's a clever title.
Reflect up. Would be John R. Powers.
John R. Powers. Okay.
Sorry, wrong author.
Wrong author, but Gene Shepherd was a good writer too, so never mind. But in any case, you guys are probably too young to remember, those kind of memories when people would hold your faith against you, your skin color against you, your race against all. It's just the whole. It was, if you're not like me, get away from me.
Yeah, no, I grew up in Georgia, so when I was a little kid, we lived in a smaller town in Georgia. We lived in Milledgeville, and I remember racism was. I mean, that was definitely a part of the scene, But at some level, you understand it because people look dramatically different. They have dramatically different backgrounds.
Yeah.
At least it's sort of like, and if somebody comes from a foreign place, so you're like, well, I understand xenophobia, at least the premise of it. But the Jews have always been a puzzle to me. Like, they just seem like you wouldn't notice it. You'd have to interview them for a while to even go, oh, okay, you're a little bit different, and that would always puzzle. Not that racism makes sense, but at least you understand where it comes from. I don't know. That one's always been a great mystery to me. Although I guess if you're very devout in your beliefs, it's a dramatically different belief, right? So it's off-putting to the hardcore fundamentalists.
Well, I mean, look at the different sects of Islam. They don't get along at all, and they probably have more in common than any Christians and Jews do.
Right.
But those small differences, those are important to a lot of people.
Yeah, it's the classic emo joke. Do you remember that one, Tom?
God, emo Phil. I haven't seen emo in a long time.
Oh, I see him once in a while. We're kind of buddies. He calls me about once a year.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we go have lunch, or he asked me tax advice one time. It's so weird to get a call from Emo Phillips.
Financial advice from a Greek? I don't think so.
Nice. I remember Gelfand drove him nuts. Emo would come in to do the show, and Gelfand would just piss him off for some. I don't know why he pissed him off, but Emo just couldn't stand being around Gelfand.
Well, to be fair.
To be fair.
That's funny. Yeah, Emo's a very sensitive, brilliant, strange bird. He's exactly what I wanted him to be when I finally met him. I was like, oh, he's brilliant and weird. It's not that much of a character.
It was an interesting generational divide just then when you said emo joke, because as a millennial, emo joke means something very
right.
That's
very
what
different.
I thought of right away.
First thing I thought of was, I wish my grass was emo so it would cut itself.
Yeah,
there you go.
Different.
That's the classic millennial emo joke.
No, the emo joke I remember from when I was in college. We went to see him, and I had his poster on my dorm wall the whole year. I was walking through my neighbor. I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to do it justice. But
Do your best.
Swing. Walking through my neighborhood, and a lawnmower shot a rock out, and it came within 3 inches of my right eye, and it hit me in my left eye.
That's a great joke.
But the emo joke about religion, I won't do this one because it's long, but it goes like he goes, oh, you're fundamentalist, and it goes through it like he finds someone who has something in common religion-wise, and they go like to the nth degree. Oh, but I'm third denomination over, and they come to the end, and finally there's a little tiny difference, and he's like, die, heretic.
Our audience is enjoying this because, oh, by the way, if you want to comment during the show, you can either call in, and Andy will give you the number. You have the number in front of you, Andy?
We're not quite there yet. Comcast
Not quite there yet.
is
Okay.
getting back to me.
All right, no problem. But
You can
but
text.
Chatsy.com/Tom Bernard Show would be the best way.
Okay, or else you can just go on X and post a comment because it shows up on my watch anyway. And one of them just showed up. Kid went to North Minneapolis, went to his friend's house, and the father said, "You can't come in here." He goes, "Well, I'm Catholic." He goes, "Yeah, you're Catholic, but you're not Italian."
Wow.
You had to be Catholic, Italian, probably from the heel of the boot.
Yeah, the
Right.
red
Certain
Italian.
Sounds like
Right.
a bit from a sitcom where like the daughter wants to date someone, but the father keeps finding ways that it's
Right.
like, you may be Italian, but you're not Sicilian. Well, you may be Sicilian, but you're not from the East country of Sicily.
That's
They
right.
don't even speak the same language in that country.
They don't.
That's all. They don't understand
It's
each
different.
other.
Kostaki, mind if we take a quick break? Be right back
Sure.
with Costaki Economopoulos right after this. For Brad, John Bryant, Michael Bryant. Michael, what's up?
Dealing with another case where a person gave a statement to the adjuster because they thought the person was really friendly.
Is that a good idea?
Well, the problem is they know the law when they call you up. And while you're trying to be fair and you're trying to get help, the reality is there are questions you get asked that the way you answer them make a big difference. And people put themselves in trouble. And when they aren't in trouble, they didn't do anything wrong, but suddenly the adjuster's got a statement that can blow up their case completely.
What has caused people to be so untrustworthy, I guess is the best way I could put it? They take advantage.
Well, insurance companies have hired adjusters whose job it is to deal with unrepresented people. So they're supposed to kind of lure them in, call them every day, see how they're doing. And people are like, "Oh, I'm doing pretty good." Where the reality is they've kind of adjusted to their problem that they've got going on. So it's not that they're completely better, but the way they say it gets to be a problem. And that's why having somebody who can explain your rights, represent you, make sure that you understand the law before you give a statement can make a big difference in your case.
Michael Bryant, Bradshaw and Bryant.
I'm talking with my friends Michael Bilski and Brad Huckle of North American Banking Company. Guys, business owners have had to deal with a lot over the last few years, haven't they?
They sure have, Tommy. We pride ourselves on being able to help our customers with the challenges they face.
Our business bankers are experts and are always ready to help our customers capitalize on opportunities and solve problems.
Loan decisions come quickly because they're made here in the Twin Cities and not shipped out of state like at some of the national banks in town.
This allows our customers to expand their businesses with confidence, knowing that they have our team of experts in their corner.
Okay, so now you give me this big thing at the end. Way to go.
Well, you are the professional.
Oh, I forgot.
Look, I know Brad and Mike, and I trust them with my banking. They've personally delivered on everything they've just said, so why not bank with my banker? North American Banking Company, a better banking experience, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Costaki Economopoulos. There's Catherine coming back, sitting down in her chair right now. Good
Jude
timing.
wanted to go out.
So he could snore out there instead of snoring in here.
No, he needed a drink.
I suppose all that snoring makes you very, very thirsty.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
heavy snoring.
So, Costaki, what's going on in your world, Pally?
Well, let's do a quick ad. Be like Michael Bryant and buy a ticket to come see me at Acme in Minneapolis, March 5th through 8th.
What? That's wonderful.
Michael Bryant's already bought a ticket.
Oh, yeah, he's all fired up about that. There's no question. Hey, let me ask you a question. I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of comedians now used to tour, and of course, when I was at the Q, they would all come in and do the show and all the rest of it. But comedians don't really do that much anymore, do they?
I don't know what
show
happened.
up in
I think,
studio.
I think the relationship between the clubs and the radio stations is unraveled a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know how well you know Brian Miller, but he's a local comedian that we've had in a bunch of times, and I was actually
He
talking
knows
to him.
Brian Miller a lot.
I
don't
love
know.
Brian Miller.
Well, there you go. And yeah, basically he said that comedians are they can do it all through social media. So
Yeah.
like, why
Yep.
get up at 6:00 in the morning to be on the radio and that sort of thing? And when you can just tweet about it for a while.
Well, let me give you one
I miss
example. Why should you do it? Brian Callen's in town this weekend, and the first time I ever met Brian Callen, the family took him to dinner at Murray's, and I bought him like a $400 bottle of wine. So you better be on, Brian Callen, you pill.
I remember when Brian came in, you were hanging out with him a lot, and I remember Alex was making fun of you a lot for your bromance.
Our bromance, Brian Callen and me. Yeah,
You
there
were
you
a little smitten.
Little weird.
Oh, I think it's very well with Costaki too. Let's not forget it.
I met Brian on on the field of a park where we were there with our children. And I'm like, I think that's Brian Callen. I went over and introduced myself. We talked shop for a few minutes. It's crazy. We lived in Venice at the time, and I guess he lives somewhere around there. It's the only time I ever saw him there. But
see, so there you go. Yeah, but it has completely changed because back in the Q's 40 share days, everybody showed up in studio. They were there all the time. But yeah, social media changed everything. They don't really need to do it anymore.
I disagree with that premise. I
do too.
That might be the rationale, but radio has always been such a powerful force for comics.
Well, yeah, I don't think Brian was saying that that's like a good reason. He was just saying that's the reason that people think. It's like,
Yep.
I'll just tweet to my followers, but it's like, I don't know, they're already your followers. So they're already kind of like, you know, if they're following you on Twitter and they know you're in town, they're probably already going to buy a ticket.
Right.
Well,
Well, part of the answer is the nature of radio has changed so much.
Yeah,
So many of the places there's nobody in the building anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like
Right.
I go to Bob and Tom affiliates and I'll call to like see if they want to do an interview and give away tickets, and there's literally no one who works there in that capacity anymore. You know?
Yep.
Are you blaming that on me because I was the first one to do that?
No, it's the nature of how radio has become
It
so
is.
centralized, and you know, and with voice tracking, you could do a show from a different city and line it up and send it
Right.
in. You're not even
Yep.
there anymore. You know, things have changed.
That's very, very
Well,
true.
the comedians have changed too. The younger ones, they don't want anything to do with
Yeah.
getting up. They don't want to do. They don't want to promote. They just want YouTube, TikTok. They don't want anything to do with getting up and doing something. I mean, some of them probably do, but we saw a big shift in work ethic, I would say.
Oh, God, yes,
with
absolutely.
with comedians over the years.
Yep.
All of a sudden, it was just like they came in and they smelled.
Couldn't be bothered.
They weren't shower. It's like, did you shower this week? You're gross. You're high. You're hungover.
Yep.
Yuck.
Right.
Go away.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's interesting to
Very
hear. Now, I've heard this complaint from some DJs too. Like the new comics, they're used to doing podcasts, and so they in their minds, we're going to have this long conversation, and some of the morning guys, they're like, do some jokes and get out of here. You know?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They do not like that. We've had a lot of comedians on, and they're like, "Oh, thank God you don't have a list of like 10 points you want to just blast through." And
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got 3 minutes. Be funny.
yep,
Right.
exactly.
I get it. I get both sides of that. I understand the ethic of wanting to have an organic conversation, but also, you know, in morning radio, a lot of
got
those,
so much
there's
time.
not a lot of time, you know. Right.
But that's why podcasting is good, and we're doing it now. And hopefully they, just having you on the show lights the light. So there you have it. You know,
Hey, kids love it.
the kids are digging it, man.
Follow Costaki's example, fellow comedians.
Exactly.
Kostaki, did you make any money off the Super Bowl?
Oh
Bet
no, I
anything?
didn't.
You didn't
I had
bet
a couple
anything?
of small prop bets just to kind of stay engaged, and I don't think I won any of them.
Oh.
I definitely picked the Chiefs to win. That was the bad choice.
Yeah. Well, wasn't that was a huge surprise, the blowout, because
they
the
looked
score doesn't even show you if you didn't see the game, the score does
Right.
not tell you how bad it was.
Yeah, it wasn't 40-22. It was 40-6. Right. Yeah.
It was
that's right.
40-6.
Yeah, those were
Right.
pity touchdowns. They
Right.
definitely
I
were.
wonder what the worst Super Bowl blowout ever was.
You
It's
can
got to
pull
be
that
close.
up. Was it might be Broncos against my Falcons. That's going to be top handful for sure.
Number one, 1990, 45 points.
What?
Broncos versus the 49ers.
Oh, okay.
Really?
55-10.
Oh, God.
The Broncos lost that game, right?
They sure did.
Right.
They certainly lost
God.
that game.
As long as you're looking, what was the Falcons Broncos score? Do you have that?
Let's see. Well, it's not in the bottom or top or however you want to think about it. 5. So there's
Oh, okay. Well,
the
that's good news.
Falcons, Broncos. Do you know? Is that the only time they've ever been in the Super Bowl together?
Yes.
That'd be 33, 34-19.
Yeah, that doesn't
So it
sound
wasn't
so
that
bad.
bad.
I remember
No.
thinking it was a blowout. Maybe it was like this one where it was a blowout the whole game and they caught up a little at the end for no reason.
Let's see, it
Yes.
was
This
7.
game was tough. The Chiefs had a bad time in New Orleans. It was like they were a Mormon with a shellfish allergy. See that?
Thank
was
you.
Bad. That's a bet.
God. When did you write that one?
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to know.
Travis Kelce had a tough game. In the first half, the only Kelce catch we saw was Taylor Swift. Hello.
And they booed, and she thought they were booing her, but they weren't booing her, were they? They were booing something else, weren't they?
Well, the place is filled with Philly fans. And
that's true. That's
it's like people are saying. There's a lot of like people on the internet out there being like, "Why did they boo Taylor Swift?" It's like, well, they booed Santa, so I mean,
Philadelphia will
they will
that.
boo
That's right.
anything that's associated with someone who is not their team.
That's right. She's lucky they didn't throw batteries at her.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right. Yeah.
Costaki, one of my favorite Philadelphia stories. First time we were ever in Philadelphia going to a friend's daughter's wedding. She's marrying a guy from Philadelphia. So the wedding was in Philadelphia, I guess, for some reason.
Rittenhouse Square.
Rittenhouse Square. And I'm walking past, and there's a cop leaning up against the fence. And I walk back, and I figured, there's a cop. I like cops. Walk by and go, "Beautiful day, officer." She goes, "Yeah, right." I was like, "Oh, I'm in Philadelphia." Okay. I did love Philadelphia. I got to be honest with you. I can't really name one big city I've ever been in that I didn't like.
Oh, that's nice.
I don't like the freeway system in Houston. That thing is like a pretzel. It's like one of those pretzel twist deals. I mean, you got to. But no, I mean, I've never been to a big city that I didn't like. Is there one that you don't like to appear in?
No, you come to think of it, I have the
There you
same.
go.
Yeah, I think most of the American big cities are great. They're great
Yep.
places to run around. I mean,
what
I
I
like
think.
I like Atlanta. I like Indianapolis is an unusually warm, delightful place. Minneapolis is great. I love San Francisco when I've been there.
Oh God, yes.
San Diego's great. Yeah, Boston. I lived in Boston for a couple of months when I was just out of grad school. That place was magical.
I say this every time it comes up, but Catherine and I are in Boston a couple of years ago. I'm walking along and going, "That's Paul Revere's grave right there, just off the sidewalk." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, by American standards, it's a very historical place.
It really is. Yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and New York, I lived in for a decade. I don't itch to go back, but I miss some parts about it.
Oh, yeah.
I loved how walkable it is. You come out your front door and you can walk to 300 restaurants. There's something kind of cool about that.
Although they shut down the Carnegie Deli, which still pisses me off.
They did? For what? Why? What happened?
Ages ago.
They just closed it. There's a tiny one now somewhere, I guess. I've never been to that one. But the old Carnegie Deli, just to be in there when all those old comics back in the 80s and the late 70s, early 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Those old comics like Henny Youngman would walk through the front door and insult everyone he walked by.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It was wonderful.
I would love to see
Branch
some stuff from that era.
closed September 31st, 2016.
26. That's been closed that long already?
Yeah.
9 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't
Jesus.
know why. It doesn't
Loved
give
it.
like a particular reason. It just
Loved it.
Take my wife, please.
Take my wife, please. Jesus.
That's the example in all the early comedy writing books of the most efficient joke. It's 4 words.
There's a thing, and I don't know which outfit it's on or whatever, but there's the Ed Sullivan Show premiere or premium moments, or I don't know what the hell it's called, but it's all the old, Donna, all the Supremes were on there, and the Beatles, and
Right.
and they bring on all these comics that are no longer with us.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was funny.
Oh, yeah.
Some great humor, no doubt
Yeah,
about it.
right. I wish I'm sad that I missed that era. I would love to go to a Catskills show.
Oh God, yes.
It's kind of the crucible, the birthplace of modern American stand-up. And I never saw that era. Occasionally, like when I first started doing cruise ships, there were some really old guys doing like street jokes on those, on those boats. They were a little bit of a symbol of that old era, but I never really saw like the true Catskills kind of vibe,
I am going to, we talked about it earlier and I've been thinking about it, and I'll just go through this very quickly, but I guess I'm really glad that I had such a big show in radio back when radio was such a big deal and all the rest of it, because, I got to meet all those people face to face. They all, because we had a 40 share, everybody would come in and do the show.
Oh yeah,
you were talking about
share. It's hard to get your head around.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
that's a big share. There's no doubt about it. But, Jane Fonda came in. She gave me a hug and a kiss on the cheek when she left. How many guys can say that?
Yeah.
I was at work today and I got a kiss on the face from Jane Fonda, and she hugged me. Don Rickles coming in, insulting me to my face. I mean, that was wonderful.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't exist anymore. That's too bad that doesn't exist any longer.
That's really funny. Yeah, I sat in a pool one time with Bob Kavoyan of the Bob and Tom Show.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And they interviewed everybody. Those
Yep.
guys were monsters for many years. And and he had a picture of him and a couple of the Beatles, and they talked to everybody. And I said, "Who is your favorite guest?" And he did not hesitate. He goes, "Dolly Parton."
Oh yeah,
he said
absolutely.
She came in. She was genuine. She was kind. She stayed for like 3 hours. She couldn't have been any more real and funny, and he just loved Dolly. So I mean, there's so many of these kind of big shots that you get to. It's so cool.
Yep.
You guys get to interview those characters all these years. It's so great.
Not anymore, man. It doesn't happen any longer, unfortunately. It's too bad. Now, did you ask the other opposite side of Bob and Tom? Who was the worst guest they ever had?
I did ask them that.
You did?
Yeah, they've had it's funny. They actually had one like famous moment where a comic slammed his headphones down and walked off walked out of the studio, and it was during my call-in. It wasn't about me. It was something that happened before that, but I didn't know what was going on. And I remember thinking during the segment, like, these are good jokes. They're not really seem very dialed in today. What's going on? And then later, when I watched the tape and I saw what happened, like, it was a comic named Chad Zamook, and he had this weird tension with them.
Yeah, I know him.
From his point of view, he felt like they were being dismissive. And Chick made a joke about something as they were introducing me. And he, without saying it, so I didn't know what was happening, he just took his headphones off and in disgust, like slammed them down and stormed out of the room.
Oh, God.
And I'm on with my little football jokes. Hey, did you notice? And they're like, there's no energy in the room because there's this weird thing that just happened.
So,
and
folks,
trying to figure out whether or not to address it on air. They decide not to, so they just went back to my segment.
Yeah.
But it was just weird.
We had something like that happen once on our show. I remember, like probably 7 years ago.
Really?
We had a guest call in, and I put them on the air. And as I put them on the air, someone made a completely unrelated joke, but they thought the joke was at their expense, and then they just hung up on us.
Who was that?
I don't even remember who it was. Maybe someone in the chat does, but yeah, I remember I was like, "Hello, is anyone there?" And they weren't there. And then I got like an email from their producer, and they were like, they didn't like the fact that you were joking about them. I'm like, that wasn't about them.
Oh, God. You mean a touchy comedian? Who ever heard of it?
Yeah, I don't remember who it was. I wish I could. I hope someone out there knows what I'm talking about, because that'd be an interesting thing to listen to again. And then there was like we've had a couple of moments like that where there's 2 episodes we never aired. One of them was because after the show we were instructed by their producer not to air it because we were not as agreeable as they had hoped.
Like who was it?
Yeah, this was just like a year ago.
No, but who was it?
I don't remember her name, and I don't.
Oh,
was she a comedian?
Yeah,
No.
she was terrible.
No, she was. Yeah, she was on about. I don't know. It was some very, very political thing.
Oh, ish.
So unless you listen to that live, you're never going to hear that. It's gone.
Well, that must happen all the time that you.
No, that's 1 out of 2 times that we've had to dump an episode.
No, but in terms of like, not to that extent, but in terms of like someone who's maybe arm twisted into doing this in the first place.
Yeah, right.
They're mailing it in, and the interview's flat. Or a comic who's very good on stage, but not so good in a radio situation.
That's why we stopped doing comics for so long. Like, like my mom said, it's like they would just come in, and it's like they were clearly like they didn't want to be here. Right. They were acting like we were wasting their time, and it was just so obvious, even to the audience, that we were just like, we would rather have nothing than this.
Yeah.
Right. Now, is that true of other crafts? It seems like authors might be great at writing books, but not interesting to talk
yeah,
to.
a lot.
Do you have
lot
that
of time.
problem?
Yeah, I remember we'd have some authors on, and it would be we'd ask questions about their book. It's like, well, you need to buy the book to read.
Gotta read the book.
You gotta read the book. You gotta read the book. It's like,
Yep.
oh, this is great.
Yeah, I remember one in particular. It was someone's like
Good
biography, and we could ask anything whatsoever. They'd be like, "How are you doing?" We'd be like, "How are you doing today?" And they'd be like, "Well, you'd have to read my book to find out."
Yes.
I was like, I
Yes.
don't know what your publicist told you to do, but this was not it.
Yeah, exactly.
Costaki, I'm really happy you were able to make it on this show as well. You've been, what is it? Figured it was about 12 years, something like that.
Yeah.
It's a crazy amount of time. Yeah.
It's wonderful. So you'll be with us until I croak. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, you going to do radio? You're going to drop dead on a control panel somewhere, Tom?
You know,
Yes, it's my
That's-
guess.
That's in Costaki's contract. It says
Tom's got to
Until
die on the air.
death of Tom. I
When
will
he's doing the
appear
death
on this
rattle,
show.
I have to call Costaki.
It's true. Costaki, you going to join us again next Tuesday, I hope? I know
I'm not. I'm clocking out. The Super Bowl's over.
Sucks. I hate
I'm gonna go
that.
sleep for a while. I'm gonna
Who's
go
gonna
into my
be
little
in,
hibernation.
It's going to be in town in less than a month, so
Yeah, if you'll
We
have
can
me,
have you
I'll
on
come-
then.
I'll come talk to you then.
Magnificent. I hope so.
Yeah,
We love you on the show, Costaki. You know that.
I love you guys. You've been
yeah.
great
Actually,
to me for years.
actually, I will. I'll contact you and get you on the schedule right after the show.
That's right. And if any of you characters would like to be weaseled into Acme, let me know. I'll put you on the
Weasel.
list.
Weaseled in. That's nice. Very, very nice. All right, sir. We will talk to you in, just a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, a month or so. I'll
About a month,
figure
okay.
something out. Yeah.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Costaki Economopoulos, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by Josh Arnold, my pal Josh. We should get Josh on the show, too. He could tell some jokes.
He is going to be on the show tomorrow.
Oh, is he?
Yep.
Look at that timing. We'll take a break. Be right back in 1 minute, ladies and gentlemen. South Dakota, one of the most business-friendly states in the country, and there's no better place to settle down and take advantage of those incentives than in Sioux Falls. As the state's largest city with a metro population over 290,000, Sioux Falls has low business costs with a high quality of life. There's no state, corporate, or personal income tax. There's no inheritance tax, no limits to what your business can achieve. So here's the deal. South Dakota ranks among the top 10 states. Everybody knows. Matter of fact, Andy puts up this video every time I do the South Dakota commercial. My God, that's a beautiful piece of video. What's the name of that river? Does anybody know the name of the river there?
I do not.
South Dakota River.
Yes, the South Dakota River. That's what it is. But
Sioux Falls adjacent river.
yes, thank you. Tax friendliness, hardest working, healthcare, doctors, most popular to move to. You know that's true now because no state taxes. What do you think of that action? As a matter of fact, listed in the 50 best places to live for families, the fastest growing Midwest metro, one of the best places to raise a family, very, very, very important. One of the best small cities for Gen Z workers, and a national fourth top inbound city people move to. So what do you think of that action? And I'm looking at that video still. It's a beautiful town. How does South Dakota stack up against other states? They rank second in the nation for the lowest cost of doing business, the most business-friendly state, and the best business tax climate. And as South Dakota's biggest city, Sioux Falls is at the center of these benefits. Visit www.siouxfallsdevelopment.com. My God, that was another... That went by very quickly, don't you think, that time, that hour and 15, 20 minutes?
It did.
Yeah.
And did
It's
you see
been-
Sioux Falls with all their cranes? They must be,
I did see that,
They're
yes.
developmenting.
well, you see all the time on Twitter, people that have left Minnesota for South Dakota.
Yep.
You do
Tax
indeed.
friendly and pretty much the same weather.
Do you
Actually,
think
I
that's...
wonder, South Dakota, like how much has their population changed?
Oh, it's changed a lot.
Oh yeah,
I would
it's
think so.
going up, up, up. Even North Dakota is going up, which
Yep.
Yeah.
normal. I've never heard of anyone be like, "Man, I wish I lived in North Dakota."
Oh, North Dakota. I
Well-
lived there twice, and I liked it. I lived in Grand Forks and in Fargo 2 separate times. I loved it up there.
Fargo years ago became sort of a tax friendly hub for tech.
Yep, it
Huh.
did.
Yeah.
Is that what the show's about?
What show?
Fargo.
No.
Yes,
no, no,
absolutely.
I don't know.
That's
I-
No,
exactly-
not at all. Not at all.
I've basically been told as a Minnesotan I should not watch it because I would.
I
The
think it's great.
accents would
Oh.
drive me insane.
Oh, it's a great show.
Well, it's not like they're wrong. The accents are pretty much close to.
Oh, yeah?
real
I
thing.
heard- I heard
in
they
some
were, like-
areas, yes.
I heard they were extremely exaggerated.
You will hear this a lot in South Dakota. Oh, yeah.
You hear
They
that
do
a
that
lot in northern Minnesota.
Northern
too.
Minnesota, too. Yes, you do. Absolutely.
What is happening with your phone?
I don't know. Whose phone? Is that your phone ringing? Somebody's phone is ringing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Nana. Well, it's time to go anyway, so that's cool, right?
I would say so.
That now, who we got coming up tomorrow? I love.
Tomorrow, I believe we have Jimmy Francis.
Oh, I love Jimmy.
And Josh Arnold, too.
Magnificent. We look forward to that, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for listening.